So you're lying down. If lying down is comfortable, if lying down isn't great, please sit on a bolster maybe, or on a chair if you prefer a chair. Shove that out the way so that it doesn't look too cluttered in my house. All right. So we will begin tonight with a little bit of yin breathing. Okay. So please settle yourself into a comfortable lying position, perhaps with your knees bent and maybe your hands resting onto either your tummy, or you could put one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly. It's entirely up to you. So whatever you feel comfortable with, or even with your arms out somewhere easy by your sides, doesn't matter. Do make sure that you feel comfortable. So I was just closing the door. And bring awareness to the breath of your body. Sorry, I'm laughing at your puppies, Fiona, climbing all over you. they're having such a great time, clearly. Anyway, so a little bit of yin breathing. If your knees are bent, feel your feet against the ground, because the yin is the earth. Okay, yin is the earth, the sky is the yang. Okay, yin is down, yin is low. And for this particular breath, this yin breathing, we're going to think about the perineum. So this is the space underneath your torso, between the anus and, well, I can't think of the right anatomical name because my sister always tells me off for using the wrong names, but around that location. And when you breathe in, so this is contrary to how we normally breathe, because when we do our normal yogic breaths, we normally relax the pelvic floor. But for yin breathing, we're going to just ever so slightly engage the pelvic floor. Okay? And this is an acupuncture point. This is Ren 1, Hu Yin. And we're going to keep it slightly engaged on the in breath. And then on the out breath, you're going to relax it. So this is sort of a reverse of how we would normally use this area of the body in our normal breaths. So breathing in, and the perineum slightly engaged, and then exhale and relax. And imagine this concept. It's a bit visual, but you go with it. I want you to imagine it as, when you breathe, it's like swinging doors that are opening and closing. So they open inwards as you breathe in. So these are swinging doors that open and close. They swing back and forth. They don't just stop like our normal doors do. So as you breathe in, the doors swing inwards at the perineum. And as you breathe out, the doors swing outwards to open. And you can imagine your breath a bit like the wind. And it's the wind that is blowing the doors inwards and outwards. And as you breathe out, you can visualize that the doors swing open to release the wind. This isn't digestional wind. This is just the winds within the body. Wind always is the catalyst for change, or the symbol for change, or symbol even for disruption. And it's been quite windy, hasn't it, of late? So this is a nice way to calm things down. And the idea here is that you can visualize your inhalation traveling up your body and the exhalation traveling down your body, allowing your skin to breathe with you and for your whole body to become more relaxed and more yin-like. You might feel lighter. You might notice how your chi, your energy, is freer, circulating more freely. You might even notice sensation in your legs. The yin meridians, the yin channels of the legs are activated with this breath. Take one or two more breaths, please. And then gently let the practice go. Let the visualization fade. And bring the breath back to its own easy, gentle rhythm. Okay. And then from your lying position, you can stay lying. And you're going to roll onto the side of your body. And you could take a cushion or a block as something for a pillow. And you could use your bolster to support your top knee, for instance. So your bottom leg can be straight down to the end of the mat and the top knee can be bent with the leg resting on the bolster. This is optional. If you don't want to use the bolster or haven't got it to hand, just lie on your side. And for those of you that were here on Tuesday, this is echoing what we did at the start of Tuesday's practice. So you'll lie, I think we did this on Tuesday's practice, I hope we did. Anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to brush your top arm past your face and you're going to take it out behind you and round. Now, if you remember on Tuesday, if you wanted to roll backwards into the twist, you can. And if you don't want to take the twist, you just keep the movement in the shoulder region. So you're just moving your arm. If you're rolling backwards, you're letting your chest open towards your ceiling, and then you're returning back to your side as your arm comes in front of you. Arm goes behind and body opens and comes back to return. Do a couple more of these, please, keeping your arm fairly low to the ground if possible, and especially if you're rolling back. It should be easier to keep your arm closer to the ground. Good. And then we're going to take our first yin pose, which is a 2-minute stay with the arm just opening out behind you. Now, notice that you can stay very much on your side and just let your arm fall back, or you can roll backwards just a little bit. But what I do want you to do, and it's contrary to what I normally ask you to do, but I want you to let your arm hang in the air. So don't be tempted to roll so far backwards that you can put your arm or your hand on the floor. Resist that and just let your arm hang. Now this is going to stimulate the channels and the fascia that's along this inside edge of the arm and the armpit and the front of the chest. So you've got your lung channel there, you've got your heart channel and your pericardium channel. And so they're all of them being stimulated there. So this is your heart for your circulation and your blood, your lung for your immunity, for keeping your body nice and strong, okay, so it doesn't get affected by the cold or the wind or the damp that we're experiencing. So we're going to hang out here for maybe 1 more minute. If it gets tiring, please bring your arm back and don't let yourself get pins and needles, because that's not very much fun. Now, Joe, instead of having your top arm resting on your hip, maybe take your top arm like that alongside your ear if you want to. Yeah, does that make sense? So then you've got, yeah, like that. Does that feel okay? You can lay more on your side if it aggravates to be in that sort of rolled back position, but you should be all right, I think. And this is a great way because you've got you're stimulating the heart and the pericardium. Pericardium is the heart protector. And so if we've got any kind of emotional heaviness kind of hanging onto us, this is a great way to soften that. Not necessarily to let go of it, because sometimes we need to feel these feelings. But if it feels very heavy and it's sort of shutting our front body down, then this is a nice way to alleviate that. So come out of the shape, that's your 2 minutes well and truly done. And just lie on your side or lie on your back, and we'll take 1 minute just to come into something easy and comfy and neutral before we do the other side. Okay, so another couple of breaths in this resting neutral position. And then I'd like you to make your way over onto your other side, please. And remember, if you want to use the bolster underneath the knee, sometimes what that does is it stops the hips from feeling like they're collapsing. Just gives you that little bit of space. Or sometimes it's quite nice because then you don't rest one inner knee on the other, and for some people that can be a bit uncomfortable. So having the bottom leg straight down to the end of the mat, and the knee resting onto the bolster. It's actually quite nice, isn't it? It just gives that, it sort of keeps the back of the pelvis open. It stops it from kind of caving forwards, collapsing forwards. So you know the score. That's the top arm, and we're gently sweeping it in a circle, maybe in a kind of backward circle. So we're going with the arm out behind us, and then we're coming back round to the front, past the face and out behind. And if you want to roll back, maybe the rotation gets a little bit deeper each time you move your arm in the circle. We're just looking for a little bit of space. Breathing into the lung space. Do one more circle, please. And then we'll come into the yin pose where we're just letting that arm hang for 2 minutes in the air behind us. We're not encouraging it to touch the floor. If it does touch the floor, keep the touch super light, no weight going into the ground, just the awareness that the ground is there. And as I said, this is great for emotional heaviness. It's great for feelings of anxiety. If we've got a little bit of kind of breathing issues, don't feel like we can breathe too deeply into the lungs. If we're struggling with sleep, with insomnia, this is the part of the body, the channels that we want to work with. We want to calm this area down with yin, allow it to open so that it can, the heart protector can do its job of protecting the heart, but also the heart protector's job is to not allow the heart to get too hot. So it's a ventilation system. And sometimes what you can feel, you might feel it now. Notice if you can feel that your hand feels warm. Perhaps there's heat in your palm right now. Maybe there's heat in the other palm, who knows? Just notice if you're releasing any heat. It could be through the palms, it could be through the feet, it could be through the center of the chest even. Got one more breath. And then as same as before, just coming back slowly, letting the arm rest wherever it needs to rest, enjoying the return, not being in any kind of hurry to move unless you really feel you need to. If you really want to come off of your side and lay on your back, then of course, please do that. Okay, last couple of breaths. All right, so just having a look at the screen because there's a couple of options for what we're going to do next. Number one option is melting heart pose, which essentially is this kneeling bowing down. So this is what it would look like without any props at all, something like this. However, you could practice this with your bolster here, and you could rest your chest on the bolster, maybe take it back so your chin doesn't, or the neck doesn't feel like it's straining too much. So that's kind of option one. You can play around with that. The bolster can go this way and just kind of rest underneath the armpits. That's quite a nice alternative. Joe, I'm coming to you, so I know you don't want to do back bends. Please just hang on a second and I'll give you another suggestion in a sec. So melting heart is option number one. Option number two is a Sphinx pose, nice and straightforward, okay, which you could use your bolster for. And then option number three, and this is more for Joe, and I want you to maybe try this, okay? It's kind of the opposite, because the opposite of what everybody else is doing. But if you think about it, anytime you lay on your front, you are mildly extending the spine. Now, I'm going to suggest, Joe, that you put a pillow under your tummy, and then you lay forwards with your forearms on the floor and your head down like this. Okay? And what we'll do is a little breathing exercise while we're in these poses. So we're all going to do the same breathing exercise, but they're your three options. And I want you to pick one of them. We're going to hang out there for 3 minutes. Okay? So you choose which one appeals most to you. Make any adjustments that you need, any fidgeting, any prop adjustments, get placement. Maybe padding under the knees if you need it, if you're kneeling. Or then what we're going to do is we're going to picture the spine in our mind's eye. And I want you to choose a colour. The first colour that comes into your mind, that will be the colour for you. Doesn't matter what it is. Don't even think about why it's significant. Just think of a colour. And I want you to place that colour along your spine, as though your spine becomes a beacon of light and is filled up with the colour that you have chosen. Now, whatever colour that you've chosen for a reason. Colours have a really big significance for different healings. So perhaps your spine or your body needed a little bit of the nourishment from the colour that you chose. Maybe the colour is significant to the energy that's located near to your spine, in whatever region along your spine that you might be experiencing tension or tightness at the moment, or any pain or discomfort. So it would be, if we're following the chakras, it would be the red right down at the perineum, the tailbone region, then orange into the sacral region, solar plexus is yellow, the heart is pink or green, the throat is blue, and then we come up to the third eye, which is purple, and then above the head could be white. Perhaps one of those colours was one that you chose. And maybe you chose it for its significance in the energy it needs to bring to your body. You're going to take just a few more breaths with this colour. And very well done. Because this is a difficult pose. Melting Heart is one of the more challenging poses because it's quite stimulating. So whenever you're ready, you could slide forwards to rest onto your tummy or come into child's pose, whatever you feel like. Maybe you want to come off your knees and lay on your back, and that would be okay. Okay. So we're going to take 1 or 2 more breaths as you are. And then slowly, I'd like you to emerge from your shape and come upright, come up more into a seated position so that you can have a look at your screen. Now let's put that up there. You're going to need bolster and pillow in a moment or two's time. But to begin with, we're going to, it's sort of, we're building up towards a really nice pose. And to get to the pose I want to do last, we're going to do swan pose or deer pose first. So swan pose is one leg bent, perhaps the other leg straight out behind you. Maybe your bolster here to catch you and you're laying down with that knee out wide to the side. So big piriformis and glutes and hip stretch. Of course, if this isn't great for your body and you want to do a milder version, you could keep the knees in this kind of 90-90 fashion and fold over the front leg and don't get so low to the ground. The higher up you are, the gentler it is through your body. And of course, the final option, as always, there seems to be so many, doesn't there? But is to take a figure of 4, maybe put your foot onto some furniture or on the wall, or even just bring your leg in towards you like this. Okay, so they're all getting into this sort of same region, which is the outer hip and the outer thigh. You all right with that, Sarah? You're looking at me. You okay? All right. So we talked about the 3 yin meridians of the arm. We talked about the heart, the pericardium and the lungs. They're all on the inside of the arm. This pose stimulates the 3 yin meridians of the leg. That's the spleen, the kidney and the liver channels, and they run up the inside of the leg. You're also stimulating an area called leg 3 mile, which is sort of on the outside of the leg. If you're in your sleeping swan, then that outside edge of your leg is going to be pressing against the floor. And so all of this has a big, strong relation to blood and to energy. And this is a great way to revive our body's energy by stimulating these leg channels. And at the same time, the yin aspect of the pose helps to calm the mind, to slow the thoughts, to allow any worries or anxieties to transform. To transform into something that's causing us, transform away from something that's causing us to stagnate, into something that instead gives us hope or light. We can see through the worries. So, you're going to stay here for just a little bit longer. And then I'd like you to gently release the shape that you're in. And slowly, gently come into something neutral. It might be an all fours position where you turn circles with your tailbone. Maybe it's a downward facing dog. That's quite nice after swan pose. Yeah. Or indeed, you might just want to lie down and be still and lay on your back for a moment and let your legs stretch out. Okay, so because I'm conscious of not overrunning by too much, we're going to come into swan pose on the other side. So please make your way into your shape and find the second side. Remember, it doesn't have to look anything like the first side. It can be a completely new variation on the same pose. Don't think that the both sides of your body have to be the same or treated the same. You don't have to use the props in the same way. But you do have to come to a place that enables you to become still. And that's probably the hardest part, isn't it? It's undoubtedly the hardest part. Finding the sweet place where stillness can completely take over and you give yourself up. The weight of your body is given up to the mat, to the ground. And you give anything that feels like an excess. Too many thoughts, for instance. Perhaps it's too much heat or restlessness within your body. Anything that you feel that you can let go of can be offered to the earth because you're so close to it. One more minute to stay here. Alright, so slowly release your shape and come to something that is neutral. And take a rest. Maybe it's a down dog again, or maybe it's some stillness this time. Totally your call. Please choose what you feel you need. Okay. And then Just taking a look at your screen, because you can be a little relaxed, but just having a look at the way that I've set up for the next pose. So this is the final pose. And I want you to watch me do this, because there's a couple of options with the legs. So I've got 2 cushions or just something. It could be the edge of the sofa, it could be something, you know, anything that allows you to prop up your bolster so that it's at quite a high angle actually. And then essentially, now don't panic when I say to you you're going to start kneeling, but this is how you kind of get into the pose. So you start with a kneeling position and you're going to lean back into your hands. You're not staying like this, so don't panic, but this is the kind of way to get into it. It's a bit, the pose is basically going to look a bit like you're doing this, and in fact you could do this in the pose, but I'll show it to you from this way round so that you can see what I mean. So you start off by kneeling, but then you untuck one leg like this. You lean back into the bolster, and then this leg just rolls out to the side and you stay propped up on the bolster like that. Now, if I do it the other way around, I can show you what I want you to think about with the other leg. So if I put this leg up, let it roll out to the side. Now, can you see that this foot is tucked up? I'm not sitting on it. Because I've rolled a little bit to the side, there's nothing, there's no body weight or anything here. The only consideration is going to be the top of the foot, so and the ankle. So if the top of your foot and ankle doesn't like being in this position, then please maybe just turn your toes out a little bit to the side if that feels better for you. And you can also kind of release it out to the side like this. So you can play with where this leg goes. But essentially you're just sort of lying, and there's also the option to bring your arms around the top of your head, which is a really nice way to stimulate the belly region. Okay, so have a play with that, and if you don't like it at all, then you could just come into butterfly legs. But I thought maybe we'll offer or do something a little bit different to what we sometimes are used to doing. Yeah, I think it's working for those of you that I can see are in it now. It looks really nice actually. You look very chilled out. Fiona, it's a complete different picture in your space now compared to when the puppies were running around with you. Now she's got that bliss look about her. Good. And Patsy, that looks lovely. It looks like, yeah, this is where I'm meant to be right now. Excellent. And Joe, that's not too bad for your back, is it? Are you all right like that? Is that good? Nice. Okay. I like that you've chosen to put your legs like that. Lovely. So it's like a variation on saddle pose, isn't it? Saddle pose with a kind of deer legs. And anytime we use these props like this and really support ourselves, we feel more held and safe. And when we feel held and safe in our practice, that's when the tissues open or lengthen or free themselves so that blood and energy can flow freely through them. And that's when we get the transformations happening. That's when we get the release. And the release might feel emotional. It might feel like a sadness, and equally it could be laughter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a certain thing for it to be effective. But it is just a feeling or a wave of something moving through you as you sort of let the wind of your body carry it away. It's quite lovely, really. This practice gives us so much opportunity to self, not heal, that's not really it, because we're not broken, are we? But nurture ourselves, I think, and create a space where we feel very safe. Okay, so just a couple more breaths on this side, and you're not going to come out of the pose, you're just going to switch your legs around. If you've chosen something, a leg arrangement different to what I suggested, some of you have, which is fine, then maybe you just choose a different leg position for this next few minutes, or stay as you are if you know that that's the right place for you to be in. And then let gravity take you. Breathe slowly and deeply. You're going to stay here for one more minute. And then a couple more breaths. And as you come out of the shape, you're going to come into a lying position just for these last few minutes. So you could keep your cushions, you could keep your bolster underneath your knees. This isn't kind of the thing had in mind, but just something that sort of props your upper body up slightly, and then supports the knees and allows you to kind of open your arms out to the sides. Of course, if you'd rather keep the back of your body flat on the floor, please obviously do that. But this is just a suggestion to still carry on with that feeling of being held and safe in your practice, keeping the cushions and the bolster, and then allowing yourself to completely surrender. To completely let go. Enjoy total relaxation. Breathe slowly and deeply and feel calm and secure. If you like to visualize, imagine a flower within your heart. The bud and the petals of the flower are deep within the heart, but the stem travels downwards and the roots of the flower go into the kidneys. With each inhalation, imagine that the flower receives and absorbs the sun's light. And with each exhalation, this light moves down to the roots of the kidneys. Keep inhaling, imagining the energy of the sun, and exhaling, pushing it down to the roots. Absorb the golden sun energy and feel your kidneys getting warmer. And after a few more breaths, feel your energy glowing. And then let the practice go on the next breath. Allow the visualization to fade, leaving behind just its resonance and its echo. The breath returns to normal, and you enjoy the peace of lying as you are, just for a little bit longer. And then I'd like you to bring your awareness back into the space that you're in. Take a few deeper breaths. Invite some movement down to the toes and along through the fingers. And you can take a stretch out any way that feels good. Lovely. And then let's bring the knees towards you. Bigger breath in, bigger breath out. Before rolling to the side of your mat and gently, carefully, slowly coming back up to sit. We will finish the practice together by taking, I think we're all here, yes, pretty much. Fingers out to the sides, and as you breathe in, raise both hands up high, palms meet, and exhale, hands down to your heart center to bring the practice to its close. Thank you so much for coming. Namaste. Well done, everyone.